No discussion regarding AAA games is ever complete without Naughty Dog. That's quite a conclusive statement, and we might as well end this piece before going into further details, because we doubt if any video game fan will ever disagree with us. However, Naughty Dog's journey is far too interesting, and the folks at Nerditainment feel that it deserves to be told. It's a story about success and failures, a story of ups and downs. So, in the words of Nathan Drake, let's cut the crap, cut to the chase, and pull back the curtains to take a look at the studio that has revolutionized the gaming industry with masterpieces like Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, the Uncharted series, and The Last of Us. Oh, and speaking of revolutionizing entertainment, you might want to click on the subscribe button and hit the bell icon before we progress. Now, let's barge into the home of AAA games. The first step into manhood. It all started in a bar mitzvah class of all places, in a tale that might as well have been written in Jewish heaven. Two 12-year-old boys with an interest in video games and computers met during the class and decided to create a video game studio of their own. Up until that point, Andy Gavin had experience in computer programming, while Jason Rubin had already created a few small games of his own. And here we are at 12 years of age, struggling with the Windows startup menu. These guys didn't even have the internet, and yet they managed to build an entire gaming studio of their own. Yeah, what's your excuse? From the beginning, both future Naughty Dog founders played to their strengths. Gavin's talent in programming meant he was responsible for ensuring that the games ran well, while Rubin, with his artistic inclinations, was responsible for the creative side of things. Like all budding entrepreneurs, the two founders couldn't wait to enter the market. How did they plan on doing so? With a rip-off of Nintendo's Punch-Out! See, the gaming industry is that one industry where you can easily get away with plagiarism. All you need to do is make a few minute changes and you have an entirely new property. Looking at you, Streets of Rage. Not content with remaking popular games, the duo decided that their second game was going to be a skiing game known as Ski Crazed. The game was picked up and published by Bordwell, and thus Rubin and Gavin's careers as game developers truly began. Over the years, Naughty Dog would go on to produce games like Ring of Power, Keef the Thief, and Way of the Warrior. Though these games were enjoyable, they didn't do much for the studio in the long run. Rubin and Gavin were aware that if they were to survive in this industry, they needed a hit. Something that would get gamers talking. Luckily for them, Sony's PlayStation was just around the corner. Sonic Sass. By 1995, following the release of The Way of the Warrior, Naughty Dog was approached by Universal Interactive Studios with an offer that they just couldn't refuse. A 3-game contract with full creative control given to the studio. The newfound freedom allowed the developers to hire new talent and develop a full-fledged gaming studio. Naughty Dog as we know it today had finally started taking shape. The next piece of the puzzle was figuring out the platform and the kind of game that the studio wanted to make next. By now, the gaming industry had moved towards 3D and the duo felt that they should keep up with the times. In the past, they had adopted a similar strategy when they developed The Way of the Warrior to cash in on the trend of fighting games. It had worked in the past, and well, as they say, why fix something that isn't broken? Now they had all the capital that they needed along with creative freedom. Two words that get all artists going. Both Gavin and Rubin shared an affinity for side-scrolling platform games like Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Mario Bros. They felt that with the shift to 3D, they could create a property that was as engaging and as fun as the aforementioned titles. In the initial stages, the game was referred to as Sonic Sass because a camera was placed behind the character. Over time, animators and designers from Hollywood studios were brought in to design the character. The result was Crash Bandicoot. We need a mascot. Crash Bandicoot was a culmination of various design ideas that Naughty Dog's designers came up with. Donkey Kong was among the characters which served as an inspiration for the Crash character. But the team wasn't just limited to the realm of video games. This was, after all, the first time that Naughty Dog had the budget they needed to create a fantastic game, so they went all in. The designer's greatest inspiration for Crash Bandicoot came from the Looney Tunes. The game developers also discussed various names for the character. These included interesting suggestions like Billy the Wombat before settling down for Crash Bandicoot. Now that they had a character and idea for the game, the next step was to figure out the platform. Sega and Nintendo dominated the console market at that time, but Sony had just recently entered the picture with its new PlayStation console. The new console surely had its fair share of limitations, but it was indie friendly. Plus, both Sega and Nintendo already had established franchises, so the choice was quite clear for the team at Naughty Dog. We're gonna give it to the man. Little did the executives at Sony know that this partnership would eventually help them win the battle for industry dominance. It all started with an intriguing pitch by Ruben and Gavin, where they assured Sony's executives that they had developed a mascot for the PlayStation. It certainly got them the attention that they needed, since PlayStation needed a property that it could call its own. Something that could give Sonic and Mario a run for their money and kickstart the PlayStation era. Little did they know that they had gotten just what they wished for. We are here to stay. Gavin and Ruben weren't the only game developers who had foreseen gaming's shift to 3D. Established players like Nintendo and Sega too had caught up with the times and were ready to enter the new era with established franchises. Nintendo especially was looking for a home run with the upcoming Super Mario 64. Going up against everyone's favorite plumber, no, the other one, was always going to be a challenge, especially with a character as unconventional as Crash. But here was a chance for Naughty Dog to show what these guys were made up of. They knew they could compete with the established brand name of Mario because visually, Crash Bandicoot was already way ahead of Mario 64. At the end of the day, gamers demand an immersive experience over everything else, and that is the area that Naughty Dog extensively focused on. Crash Bandicoot was a linear experience, sure, but it was a much more challenging game than Mario 64. The bosses and level design were varied enough that players never felt bored. By the time you completed the game, you felt an unparalleled sense of accomplishment. Just ask Dark Souls fans how great that feeling truly is. Visually too, Crash was way ahead of anything that was out at that time. It set the trend of Naughty Dog as a studio perfectionist. A studio that designed games that were better looking than anything else that had been released at that time. It also helped that Crash as a character had a lot more depth than Mario. A tragic but quirky character who was trying to defeat the scientists who had turned him into what he is today. Certainly a better story than Mario's Save the Princess shtick. Crash would consistently go on to beat Mario in the upcoming years. The character would receive his own trilogy of games as well as a racing game called Crash Team Racing. The legacy of the character is such that many years later, the original game would also be featured in another one of Naughty Dog's masterpieces, Uncharted 4. For Naughty Dog, the success of Crash Bandicoot was just the beginning of the journey to the pinnacle of the video gaming industry. However, the developers also faced a dilemma that all successful artists face. How are we ever going to top this one? It's a dilemma that the folks at Nerditainment also regularly face, but you can be rest assured that we will be back pretty soon with fun and engaging content just for you. Make sure you like, share and subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more.